Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Gershon here. This week we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We are going to be working with homographs, and I have that over here. I've circled it on the right hand side. Homographs this week. Homographs are words that are spelled exactly the same, which is going to be a little bit tricky, but they are being presented as nouns if a certain syllable is accented, meaning you're saying one part of the word a little bit longer than you're saying the other part of the word. And verbs. So really the two words that are spelled the same, one is going to be a noun and one is going to be a verb. So let's talk about nouns and verbs. Let's give ourselves a little bit of a refresher. A noun is a person, place, or a thing. So some of our words this week are going to be people, places, or things. More likely than not, they're going to be things or places rather than a person. The other types of homographs we're going to see are verbs, and verbs are action words when somebody is actually doing an action. So when we're looking at our words this week, and I'm going to read through the columns, but you're going to notice that one part of the word is darker than the other part, and that's going to help you decide whether or not the word is a noun or a verb. And we're going to talk about those meanings of those words because it's going to be very important this week for you to understand the word as a noun and the word as a verb in action. So let's start in our first column. I did have you leave your headings up here, your noun and your verb, and that's what you're going to sort underneath this week. So this first word is present or present, I guess is how we should say it, present. Then we have record, permit, rebel, reject, produce, conduct, and contract. Then we have the word in our second column, present. And then we have permit, desert, subject, object, conduct, reject, export. In our last column, we have desert, rebel, record, object, subject, export, produce, and contract. This word here, object, you want to be making sure you're saying object, and then we have this word here, object, and we'll talk about the meanings of those. So let's look at the first two words at the top. We have present, which you'll notice that the dark part of the word is at the front. Present, like this is a present that you would receive from somebody else. So this is a noun when you open up a present at Christmas. And then the word right next to it, present, you're really saying that ending part of that word, the sent part. So if I give you the sentence, Zoe wanted to present a present to me. Present means to stand up in front of people and to do something in front of people. So that's an action. That's the verb. So you'll notice that the beginning part of the word, if it's bold, it's going to be a noun. It's a person, place, or thing. And then if the bold part is at the end, like in the word present, then you're going to put that under the verb. And it changes the way you say the word. So let's do another one. Let's look at permit. A permit is actually a piece of paper saying that you can do something. That's a thing. That's a noun. But when I look at the word permit, over here, where the MIT at the end is bold, that means you're allowing somebody to do something. So if I permit you to do your homework during class, that means you get to do it during class and not at home. We have this common word here, desert, which we all know what a desert is. It's a place. It's a hot, dry area of land, kind of like a dry landform. But then we have the word dessert, which is not the dessert we eat. The dessert we eat has two S's. This dessert means somebody's leaving you. They're leaving you high and dry. They've kind of abandoned you. So that's an action because they're leaving you. So we have desert and then we have dessert. So you're saying it in two different ways, but it's spelled exactly the same way. Then you have the word rebel. A rebel is actually a person, it's a noun, who kind of goes against the rules. And then you have rebel. When a group of people are deciding to go against the rules, they are rebelling. That's an action. Then you have record, which is actually like a circular device where you can play music from. And then you have the word record. Let's see where record is. Oh, right here. Here's record. That's the verb. You're actually taking something down, or you're filming something in order to capture a moment. So that's an action. Then you have reject, which is actually a person who is getting told, no, you can't come in here. And then you have the reject, which is the action of saying, no, you can't come in here. I'm not going to allow you to do that. That's the verb. Produce is all of like the fruits in the produce section of the grocery store. So that's a place, or produce can be a thing. The produce section is a place in the grocery store, or produce, I went to go buy produce, which you could mean bananas and apples and lettuce and anything that comes from that section. Now you have produce, which means to create, to make something. That's a verb. Conduct is kind of like an agreement that you make with somebody or people to say that you're going to follow the rules. And then conduct, right here, is a verb. Normally you say this this word when you're talking about the person like Mr. Shank that stands up in front of the band, and he is showing with his arms what he wants each of the instrument players to do. So he is conducting a chorus in that sense. Then you have subject over here. That's a noun. That's like reading, math, spelling. That's a thing. And then you have subject, which is a verb, meaning that you are putting somebody in a position where they are in the middle of something. Then you have object, right over here. That's the noun. That's a thing, any object that you can like hold in your hand. And then you have the word object, meaning you're standing up and saying, no, I don't think that that's right or that's allowed. You're objecting to somebody's opinion. Then you have export, which are items that are sold to other countries. And then you have export, which is when you're actually the action of you taking items and bringing them to another country. Then you have contract, which is like a signed piece of paper agreeing that you're going to do something, or agreeing on a certain amount of money, or agreeing that you're going to follow the rules. It's a piece of paper that you sign. So that's a thing. And then you have contract. That's a verb. Now, contract means to create something or pass something along. So that's an action. Some of these words and meanings are a little bit tricky this week, but if you remember, if the first syllable is accented or bold, it's going to go under the noun section, and you're going to say it in a certain way. If you are looking at verbs, the verbs are accented in the last syllable, so they're going to be bold in the last part of the word, and it's an action, and you have to say it in a certain way. I'm not going to be necessarily giving you double homographs on your test this week because they're spelled exactly the same way, but I do expect that your sorting be done appropriately. And if you have any questions about any of these words, please raise your hand and I will be more than happy to help you. You can start cutting and sorting. Happy sorting!